have Shannon Sharpe and Ray Lewis. So Shannon Sharpe, of course, continues to take shrapnel from the fallout of his settling of his civil case with, his own Sophie Rain,
Exactly.
because they're both OnlyFans. You know, they're both OnlyFans avatars, and
Entertainers.
whatever word you want to use. So you got Shannon Sharpe out here, who is clearly someone who is amongst those who pays for these types of women. That is no longer an opinion, and he's kind of fallen out of favor when it comes to the court of public opinion. He was riding high with his own platforms and being on ESPN. But, in the midst of the fallout of what happened between him and this girl who sued him and made off with a 20-30 million dollar bag or however much she got from him, he was fired by ESPN, and now he's primarily doing his Club Shay Shay and Nightcap thing. And Ray Lewis has talked about distancing himself from Shannon Sharpe because he saw the timeline that Shannon Sharpe was on early on when it started to become clear that Shannon Sharpe was going to become a media personality. And so Ray Lewis was recently on a show, and he talked about how he saw the tea leaves and realized the road that Shannon Sharpe was going down, and didn't necessarily want to be a part of it. And then Shannon Sharpe in response has basically come out and said, hey man, people want to take their shots, go ahead. I don't even have anything to say. So this says Shannon Sharpe responds to Ray Lewis's criticism of his media persona. Shannon Sharpe has addressed pointed comments made by his former Baltimore Ravens teammate Ray Lewis after the Hall of Fame linebacker openly criticized Sharpe's approach to media and podcasting. Lewis made his remarks on an episode of the PBD podcast where he expressed his disappointment in the type of content Sharpe has been producing since transitioning to the talk show host and podcast world. Lewis said he is shocked by Sharpe's content and accused him of buying into the controversy-driven world of talk shows and gossip culture. Sharpe caught wind of his former teammates' comments and proceeded to respond on his Nightcap show with Chad Ochocinco Johnson. The three-time Super Bowl champion took the high road and acknowledged how people are taking shots at him. Sharpe suggested that the recent wave of criticism directed his way is more about timing than substance. While Sharpe wasn't explicit, his comments about timing undoubtedly referred to him settling a sexual assault case in July and his subsequent firing by ESPN. This latest interaction between Sharpe and Lewis comes more than 2 decades after Sharpe publicly gave an impassioned speech defending Lewis ahead of Super Bowl 35, following Lewis's guilty plea to obstruction of justice in a 2000 double murder case. So here are Ray Lewis's initial comments in reference to Shannon Sharpe's direction as a content creator or a media personality.
Shannon Sharpe, did you think he was one day going to be a good TV guy personality?
Yeah.
So you knew he was made for TV?
Yeah.
And would he say he's going to do it?
Yes, he had already started prepping.
How much before he retired did he
He'd been started.
Oh, so he's known he's going to be doing that.
Yeah.
So you're not surprised by the success he's having with his podcast and TV and him and Skip and Stephen A, all that stuff?
No, I'm not surprised. I'm shocked at his content. I wouldn't, in a million years, the things that Shannon has said now or did now, I would never believe that Shannon would say or do any of this.
Like what?
Take drinking. And in my entire career, I've never saw Shannon with a drink. Ever. Like it was against the law, right? Because he had some stuff in his family that he didn't want to follow that. And then so I kind of started to watch him, and then we kind of went our own separate ways because I'm like, you're going to take that route. I can't go that route. Never can go that route. And that route is to become so worldly that you become popular because you're talking about ignorance, right? A lot of times, a lot of these gossip conversations that they're having and bringing up all this stuff, I'm not going to do that to nobody. I'm not in the business for that. I'm in life to try to teach people what does it mean to be a better man or get back to the kingdom. you know, and a lot of times, like, and a lot of the guys get in trouble with these podcasts and things, man, because everybody wants the follower, everybody wants to be popular, everybody wants to make money, but that's a tight rope into what you call influence and popularity. Like, the devil has the ability to make you popular. God has the ability to give you influence that when people see you, they see an image of him.
Mhm.
And that's the thing for me that started to switch with not just Shannon, but just a couple of people. I'm like, wow, you would switch out like that? Really? And I would never, ever. Why? Because of the respect that I have for my mother, my daughters, my granddaughters, life, period. Like, and I think men, given these new platforms, we've overrode what the platform is actually for. The platform is supposed to help somebody find a new direction. We don't help. Everybody just gets on. Like, everybody's talking now. Everybody got a podcast. Everybody's the new
That's right.
coach. Everybody's the new relationship coach. And ain't nobody coaching themselves. You were coaching yourself when it says power of life and death is found in the tongue. Go back and check out a couple of episodes and ask yourself, do you give life or do you give death? And that's why, me personally, I kind of do my own thing, stay in my own lane.
That's right.
And here's Shannon Sharpe's response to that.
I got nothing bad to say, because a lot of things when you tolerate it, I'm gonna go ahead and say my thing. Whatever transpired, I bite my tongue. I'll be the bigger person. I'll walk away. Hey, you right? Because you know why, Ocho? It's low hanging fruit.
Yeah.
You know how I know? Because your boy, you looking at him, he low hanging fruit. And there are a lot of people taking your shot at your boy.
Come on now.
Y'all can have it. Y'all got it. Y'all got me. It's all right.
Yeah.
It's okay. It's okay. We're going to be all right, Ocho.
Yeah.
That trivia say we're going to be all right.
Yeah, listen, I could have told you that. I could tell you, I've been telling you that.
Yeah.
So
Everybody want to pile on. Everybody jump on now. Hey, we got him down, Ocho. We got him down. The best time to, hey, let me get my lick now.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody want to get a lick now because when your boy was doing good, you hear a lot of people that have a whole lot to say. Not everybody got something to say.
Mm-hmm.
Is that an admission that he's not doing good?
I don't know, man.
That's what it sounded like. He said when your boy was doing good. So that sounds to me like an admission that he ain't doing good.
Man.
So what do you make of this exchange and what Ray Lewis had to say there about, Shannon Sharpe and that particular kind of direction and all of that good stuff?
It's kind of weird. Ray Lewis keeps his microphone on mute. I don't ever hear him speak. So for him to actually be out here talking on a podcast of all things, where he's literally on the podcast slamming podcasts, and just saying that, hey man, like, I ain't for what he's doing. I was a little shocked, to be honest, because I've never heard Ray Lewis ever talk about anybody. So that was a bit of a surprise for me. But his point, to Ray Lewis's point, is that Shannon somewhere, now if he didn't drink before, while he was playing or whatever, and he stayed sober because of family dynamics or whatever, Shannon got drunk off something. Might have been the fame, the attention, or what, somewhere down the line. But when he first got on TV, I thought the guy was spectacular. An absolute wordsmith. Didn't sound like he had CTE at all. It sounded like, he had a whole football career, quick as a whip, still is. So just a fan of him, of when he played and then afterwards, immediately. When he teamed up with Skip and them, that was what it was. I watched it. Then some stuff came about on that show that I started to realize that maybe Shannon's going another route. And this might be low key what Ray Lewis is alluding to, is when he started, tap dancing and cooning and buffooning on the Skip show, wearing do-rags, Black and Miles. This man had a Black and Mile in his mouth on ESPN or Fox or whatever the hell that was on. Cognacs on TV, Hennessy's on TV, with this unk persona. He had man at the gas station persona who plays scratch offs, you know what I'm saying, and drink malt liquor persona. And it's like, why are you behaving like this? I didn't care for that. Now, I don't know what came first, that type of talk or the Kaepernick stuff. But nevertheless, he did it. And at that point, I was like, oh, so he'll do anything for the check. He one of those dudes. And that may not be where Ray Lewis is coming from, but it might be. In the sense that, oh, okay, so you'll do that for a check. So all in all, Shannon has showed me over the years. Then the whole LeBron stuff got out of hand. It's like he really took on that character so much so that he was willing to fight the Memphis Grizzlies over it. So the guy really started to lose himself somewhere in the midst of all of this notoriety and attention. And so, yeah, man, I can see that, Shannon got too big for himself. And this, when I was good, is symbolic of, this is when things were still under wraps, and the bubble didn't burst of you being too egotistical or too whatever was going on. And now that bubble has burst, and now you're losing millions of dollars. You're not on ESPN anymore. You're losing endorsements. You're not the same guy anymore. And is it from his own doing? It looks like it. So, Ray saying what he said, the irony of it all, him gossiping on things. Now I know about his family's alcohol problems. The irony of Ray Lewis. But hey, man, shout out to the U, because it doesn't stop over here, man. But what are your thoughts? What are your thoughts, man, on Ray Lewis basically calling out Shannon Sharpe, saying that somewhere down the line he took the other side of the road and decided to be this character of himself instead of a real man, basically? What are your thoughts, man?
I think Ray is on to something, and I think it's less about Shannon Sharpe and it's more about this industry of content creation that we have going on, and the individuals who have filled that space and tried to, become successful by entering into that area and trying to proliferate it to the best of their degree. When Ray Lewis talks about, how you living, you want to coach everybody else, but are you coaching yourself? That's a referendum on content. That's a referendum on the current, economy that is content creators. And it's something that happens when you go from being someone who, wants to contribute via opining on something that you have genuine expertise in, and then you want to transition to being this generalist who just gas bags and gives opinions on anything just because you have a platform and you think that you can. What Ray Lewis did is something that is symptomatic of what a lot of these other individuals do. He became outed for being a hypocrite, as far as I'm concerned. And when you are an opiner and you get outed for being a hypocrite, it's hard to put the genie back in that bottle. And I've said this before and I'll say it again. The problem with, and I'll use relationships as an example, because even Ray talked about how everybody is, everybody wants to have a podcast and give their relationship advice, their marriage advice, right? I've mentioned that because I noticed it. It's like, it's like I can't understand why an individual would take advice from somebody who is giving that brand of content when you find out the types of skeletons that they have in that closet are directly counterintuitive to the kind of advice that they're giving you. Like, you shouldn't listen to their advice. And so one of the issues that I have with a lot of modern dating and relationship content on the internet, I don't care whether it's YouTube, I don't care whether it's Reddit, I don't care whether it's Spotify, I don't care what platform you're using to consume this information. You have to be very conscientious of the kind of content that you're consuming, because if you haven't vetted the messenger, you could be receiving very bad insight from a bad faith actor. And I think what Shannon Sharpe is going through right now, because of the direction that he took in terms of becoming a content creator, is he has now been revealed to have been a bad faith actor. Because you can't give relationship advice. You can't be a man, in my opinion, who talks about women and gives men insight on women and relationship advice and marriage advice when it becomes public knowledge that you pay for women on the internet. Like, you can't be that guy anymore. But so the thing that he's dealing with is, whether it's Nightcap or Club Shay Shay, he's routinely on his own platforms talking about women and relationships. And you don't even actually have real women in relationships in your life. You're a transactional guy. You pay for everything. So what is the worth of the stuff that you say whenever you're giving your opinion? It doesn't have a lot of value. Mm-hmm. And the problem that I have with not just him, but with the content creator space in general, when it comes to stuff like relationships, marriage, and family, is you have a lot of people who are in these particular seats espousing their wisdom. And for all you know, they're on OnlyFans, or they're DMing Instagram models, or they're trying to take strippers out on dates. Damn. They're doing the stuff that they're advising you to not do if you want to find a healthy relationship, yet they are doing it themselves. So what is the value of their insight? Yet they are afforded a platform, and a lot of people listen to what they have to say. So I think where Ray was coming from this was the content creator space in general, to which Shannon Sharpe is one of its agents, is filled with a lot of phony people who shouldn't be listened to. And it's easy for a person who is well-spoken and articulate, and who can articulate very well, to espouse their relationship advice. Lo and behold, they're putting themselves in a compromised situation in which, if they don't play their cards right, they're going to have to pay out $20 million to a girl 30 years younger than them who was on OnlyFans, and you just retired her for life because you weren't doing what you should have been doing. But you want to turn around and give advice to people on the internet. And I think what Ray was trying to say was, that's the kind of thing I saw him going down. I saw him going down that road years ago. Given what I know about how he sort of orients his own personal life, to me, it was a self-destructive path. And I think he's just identifying it. But Shannon Sharpe ain't the only one. A lot of these guys are doing this stuff. These people who have all of these subscribers on YouTube because they walk the streets and do street interviews, or they bring these ladies of the evening onto their shows to talk about relationships, as if those are the types of people that should be giving insight on relationships. It doesn't make sense. Yet that's who people are listening to. Mm-hmm. It's crazy. It's crazy. You got some of these shows, bro, that bring women on And the idea is they're schooling or educating men on how to deal with women. Yet these are all women who get DM'd and get flued out and get and get approached to go on dates by people like Shannon Sharpe. Why is their relationship advice of any substance? And that ain't the only grift. There's financial grifters. There's all kinds of grifts going on. People who say invest in this, do this, buy this NFT, get this crypto. Meanwhile, they're scrounging because they're one bad investment away from being destitute themselves with their impulsivity. But they're the first ones to be on Twitter or YouTube giving advice on finances. And here you go with all of these subscribers listening to them, commenting in the sections, liking all their posts, DMing them. So for me, what Ray said was what Ray was doing to me. Well, I'll just speak for myself. I'm not going to speak for Ray Lewis. I feel like this was the utilization of Shannon Sharpe as a case study to talk about the grander implications of the content creator space, which at this point has run completely amok. There's a lot of people who are occupying these spaces, grifting to the highest degree, telling you telling you the kind of women you should be looking for, talking to you about red flags, talking to you about when you should propose, talking to you about what you should invest in, talking to you about what you should buy. Meanwhile, they're running around spending money on OnlyFans, DMing sex workers, Instagram models, the like, investing in cryptocurrency and NFTs and all of these other various weird high risk things that if you don't take care with what you're doing, can get you into a lot of trouble. So I think Ray had a point, and hopefully, I don't know. I don't care what Shannon Sharpe does, because what does it matter to me? Only from the standpoint, though, that if he continues to be in position to give advice, and clearly there's people who are willing to listen, it gives people an instance in which to learn the importance of taking inventory on the messenger. You have to take inventory on the people that you're listening to, because a lot of these individuals, if you knew enough about them, you would learn you probably should couch how much insight you take from them.
Hey man, well said, bro. And I speak for myself when it comes to content creation and what's going on the internet, because, well, I kind of divide things up. I'm a bit of a cynic, as we discussed in the last topic, and I evaluate what people have to say. And I would not take, I guess it's a matter of semantics, I'm not taking advice from somebody that I clearly see struggles, or doesn't even have a real relationship, or been in and out of marriage. But at the same time, I would. I would take advice about women from Shannon Sharpe, because he deals with a particular type of woman that I don't. And I need to know about that.
But that's my point. What if you don't know about that?
What if I don't know? No. I need to know about those type of women that he interacts with.
But what if you don't know the types of women that he see? Shannon Sharpe is an interesting case because we know about this now.
Well, here's
my point is, what about the insight you're taking from the person to whom you don't know what they got going on?
So you got it. I mean, for instance, Shannon Sharpe is a celebrity. I remember there was something that we was covering, I don't know, a while ago, where he was talking about how, at a date or whatever, this girl was asking him to be paying for this and that. And then I think you and I discussed that on here, and we was pretty much in the space of, damn, bro, you talking to them IG girls,
right?
That's the only type of female that would flip the conversation to that. So from there, I didn't take advice from him. I didn't think that all women were like this, but from there, I was able to triangulate that he's talking to these IG type women, and women that are like that, you avoid them.
Correct. Right.
I did learn from him. This is another thing too. I'm not taking financial advice from a hobo. I don't even know if that's appropriate now. That's probably a slur towards displaced people at this point. But I'm not taking financial nor stock advice from somebody that's living on the street. But that person that's living on the street can teach me something. So I don't go around, first of all, I don't listen to gas bags, man. I listen to people that, that drop facts as far as I'm concerned. But even from those podcasts, when they was inviting those ladies of the evening in there, I need to know how they think. And if I'm talking to a woman that sounds eerily close to a woman that does get invited on yachts and other weird things, I need to avoid her. So it's not a situation where you're taking these people's stuff. At least I didn't. I don't take anybody's advice as hardcore truth, or I can rest anything on that. Everybody comes with a grain of salt, especially on the internet. Even with Ray Lewis is saying here, I'm taking what he say with a grain of salt. I'll take what everybody say, unless you're giving me a sports take or something like that where it's clearly 100% your opinion. Okay, but when you start telling me about life values and stuff like that or whatever, I'm taking that all with a grain of salt, me personally. And it gets weighed up against my own personal scale of things that I've heard from other people. And if I feel like what you're saying is not applicable, then I just avoid you as a person. And so I think what's going on now, everybody doesn't do that. Okay. I can share with you, man, like 10 conspiracy documentaries, bro. And out of those 10 conspiracy documentaries, that probably equates into one actual documentary with stuff where I can co-sign and go, nah, watch that part, watch that. But you would have to watch all of these to get enough information because there's so much garbage out there. There we go. No, that's a distraction. They're telling you that to tell you this, and then that's important. So look that up. And so it's a lot of that, and I do that with everything. So that's from internet people, that's from whoever, teachers, anybody, you name them, I'm evaluating what they're saying, taking what I can learn from that and applying that to my life. Whether it's, I don't want to go down that road, let me watch more to know which road not to go down. So, to each their own. But of course, masses don't do that. A lot of people, they just take stuff on for face value.
That is correct.
You know what I'm saying? They read the Bible and they really think Jonah was in the well for 3 days. There's people that do that, and so for people that do that, yeah, I mean, it is dangerous, but hey, man, if you're struggling with that, you're struggling with a lot more in life, and I feel sorry. So take this from somebody that even on this own show where I'll tell you my own personal shortcomings where I may talk from a grandstand type of situation sometimes, but I'm also talking to myself. Especially that sports topic, all right? Because honestly, I can't help but to see Ray Lewis and go, "Hey, former Hurricane, baby, what I got to say about that? Hall of Famer, baby." So I mean, so at the same time, and this is just for anybody, take what comes out on the internet, from whatever, even from us. Of course, we've already told you guys we don't run a cult here, but take our stuff, man. And take that with a grain of salt, apply it to your life. If I say some stuff that you don't necessarily agree with, that don't mean I'm wrong. And it doesn't mean I'm right either. But hey, consider it, weigh it up against your own stuff and see what you can get out of that. So me personally, I got zero value watching Shannon Sharpe behave like a person hanging out at the gas station. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know what the hell that was about. At first, the first time he did it, I was like, okay, whatever. But when it became like a running thing, I was like, oh, so you're here to A, advertise Black and Mild, B, advertise Hennessy, because you can't take no name brand stuff on Fox and just parade it around unless there's backing behind that. Somebody has to pay for that. And that was an ad for African Americans that watch Shannon Sharpe and look up to Shannon Sharpe to buy Black and Milds and Hennessy. And nobody can convince me otherwise. And so when I saw that he would do something like that on a syndicated broadcast TV show or whatever, I was like, okay, well, clearly this guy do anything. And of course, the slobbing on LeBron stuff it had to go. But I say all that stuff to say is I take what everybody said with a grain of salt. Hopefully, you guys out there too. But I believe if you guys are conscious approachians, you don't believe a damn word I'm saying anyway. So right on to you guys, man, for always being sure that you're questioning everything that comes to your ears. So hey man, I agree with Sir Ray Lewis here, man. I feel like Shannon Sharpe took a left turn somewhere, and the chickens have been coming home to roost this whole year. So it is what it is.
Yeah, I think what you're saying is fine, but I think you have been living in your own skin for your entire life. Of course, most people don't do what you're doing. Most people don't go through those mental steps to filter out things that are meaningful and get rid of everything else. When a guy is watching Fresh and Fit, for example, and I try to avoid mentioning them by name, but when a young man is watching Fresh and Fit and he is seeing those women on that show, what he is internalizing is, I need to figure out how they think because those are the women that I want. So how can I get those women? They're not saying I want to avoid those women. They're engaging in the opposite mental steps that you engage in. And I think that's the majority of people. I think the majority of people do that. So when the majority of people are listening to any sort of insight from content creators, I think most of them are saying they know what they're talking about. So I need to figure out how to replicate that formula.
That's dangerous.
I think that's what most people do. So that's why it's important for a messenger to be vetted, because a lot of people in the content creator space are grifting the hell out of us. So the only way for you to not be victimized by the grift is to be able to take tangible, practical aspects of what it is that they do, sort of extrapolate that, and then let everything else fall by the wayside. But I think that when the majority of us are watching these programs, it's like, what's being highlighted is the kinds of investments that the experts are doing, the kinds of women who the guys who are successful with women are talking to, the kinds of marriages that guys who are in good marriages are in. So you psychosomatically connect those dots and say, I need to do that same thing when you're consuming that kind of content. And that's the danger inherent in that. So I do think that, practically speaking, what you're saying makes sense. I'm just cynical enough. That's a running theme for tonight's show. I'm cynical enough to not believe that enough people go through those steps to ensure that they are protecting themselves against harmful information.
That's fair. Trust me, I run into those people every day who don't have that filter. So. Yeah, I know it's not a common thing, man, but you can learn a lot from every single person on this planet. And so if you're just paying attention and listening to the right lessons, anybody can teach you something. So that's how I look at things. But yeah, for sure, I don't watch dangerous rhetoric on repeat because that doesn't serve me at all. But I'll definitely dabble with some stuff where I know and feel like somebody's grifting just to get a sense of what's going on. But hey, man, you bring up a good point, bro. People need to think for themselves, as you like to say.
Yeah. And to answer your question from earlier, officially, hobo is indeed a slur.
Oh, my bad. Hey, man, my bad. I did not mean to say that. So, damn, bro. Something told me not to say that too.
Don't worry. Just issue an apology and say you're going to therapy.
Yeah, I really didn't mean that, guys. I'm serious, bro. I didn't mean that, fam. All right, so shout out to my displaced people, man. Damn. I did not mean it like that.
Oh, why am I not surprised?